Yep. We about to start right now. Yep. I always got a pre-topic for my brothers and sisters. Always, you know that. Absolutely. What's up? What's up, everybody? Peace. Peace. We're gonna get started in a second. We gotta do our 10-minute countdown for my brothers can get in. Peace to everybody. To everybody. Yep, to everybody in the world. We just getting set up. So give us some time. I got a couple people waiting to log in, so I want to be considerate of those students that donate. So I said I'll wait. Absolutely. Oh, where's my other? Let me set this up real fast where they can get on here too. College students can get on, and then we'll get this show on the road real soon. Let's see. Yep, I got it on. Yep, I can see. Can you see? Oh yeah. Yep. Not just a little something that we did from years ago. We was doing a lecture on college campus in a finance department. This real life, this no fake stuff. Trying to run no Ponzi scheme or no pyramid scheme. We don't rock like that. We teach. And I hope people take the lessons that's good for them and do something with the teachings. But what do you say? Yep. We're going to teach in 1 second. We got a couple more minutes. Okay. I'm sorry. Oh, damn it. Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, y'all. I just had to get some set for one more person. Let me send this other email. Then we ready. Peace, everybody. Just bear with me, man. I'm just getting some things set up. So don't mind me. But please give me a couple seconds. We got a couple more minutes. Let my brothers get in here. Peace, y'all. I'm going to give my subtopic, and I'm going to get into the main topic. So let me get all my tea and my kabuka already and my water. I hope you get your pencils and papers, like picture pages. Y'all remember picture pages? Time to get your paper and your pencils. If you come into school to learn, I hope you come with your tools. At least a pencil and a paper. Yep. We got a couple couple more minutes. People can get on here. Learn something. Some wisdom. Maybe you may learn something, or it may just be confirmation of what you already know. Or maybe a combination of both. You never know. But I hope my volume is up. I just want to be considerate of my college students' time, because even though I jump on here to give messages to the public, because I love giving information, I do have a group of students, my muftis and college students, that look forward to these teachings. I have a lot of people that grew up in different religions, and they just been told some things, and now that they're college students, they're figuring out a lot that's not even truth. It's just belief system. Because a lot of things was told to us on tradition. Just like spirituality, just like history. A lot of stuff is tradition. And tradition can be, well, most of the time is bad. Tradition of calling ourselves slave words like Negro, black, and colored, and African American. Don't you know Negro and black and colored would never, ever, ever, ever in the Constitution were considered to be citizens. That's why black have no rights in law. I try to say this to so many people and it fall on deaf ears. The Dred Scott Law was never abolished. It was illegal to be Negro, black, and colored or African American since the 1800s. That's where they got the black Christian codes. That's where they came up with the Negro scriptures for the black person, for the black slave. And everybody know this to be true. And then our brothers and sisters, we give our science the Coptic Christianity or the Christ likeness and the Islam, not the Al-Islam, no disrespect. We all give those understandings to people that don't look like us, because a lot of us don't understand. And a lot of us is not historical, you know? Peace, my brother, Brian Higgs Bay. I was bumping your music all last night. I B. I had the opportunity to get out late and teach some people, and I just sat in the truck and just bumped your whole album last night. Album fire, bro. I'm trying to tell you. But let's get to this message. Let's get to this message. With all due respect, or disrespect, however a person want to take it. Remember, when you look within, that's when you find God. I don't care what type of religion you are, when you're looking outside yourself. I'm going to put it in a little science. Watch this. For a long time, brothers and sisters, even myself, watch this, used to circumambulate around the Kaaba. You know, walk around the Kaaba, this tradition. When they attend Allah, I saw the Kaaba circumambulating around me. Remember, when you look within, that's when you find God. So when people talk about these different types of Islam, and they always try, no disrespect, Eurocentric, Negrocentric propaganda always tried to make Muhammad, they try to cover his face, but they show everything else like white. Everything else is whitewashed. We know this. Historically, and the cartographers and the artists in those times wrote and they saw and they made pictures of what it was. So anybody can feel how they want to about it. You know? So when our children talk about so-called black history, we can start at that place. We can consider more accurate narratives of who Muhammad was and what happened to his family instead of getting away. But we can deal with the nonsense, which in this day and time, we have to, because that's what's being promulgated, nonsense. A lot of times people say, why does color matter? They always say, because if color didn't matter, why didn't you just tell the truth? If color didn't matter. Race or color don't matter. How come it don't? What matters most are prayers, the wisdom, and the spiritual connection with the divine in Islam and Muhammad's teachings. That is absolutely true. Those aspects are more important, but that does not mean other aspects do not matter at all. See, that's what I'm trying to tell my brothers and sisters when we let people give us a dogmatic perspective and they don't teach culture. Because one matters. It does not automatically mean that the other don't. It doesn't automatically mean that the other don't. That's a logical fallacy. If any of my brothers and sisters understand language when we talk about illiterate, where it's some individuals that's alliterate, meaning you know how to read, but won't do it. It's a Chinese word called Sudoku, meaning, brother, just be gathering things. When I say the misnomer black man, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry to make us look like idiots, because we refuse to learn. We party and BS, and party and BS. You know, like Nas said, we live in our second childhood. But as many say, race has no real biological significance. It is largely a social construct. But the construct matters. It gotta matter if you talk about reparations and if everything about you is evil. Think about what I'm saying. If you talk about we need to get some reparations. Well, we need to be talking about this because blacks never gonna get reparations. And then not understanding who you are in history is a double whammy. Because the construct contains groups of people, amass immense what? Power, wealth, influence, which they exert over others who are mistreated, exploited, impoverished, and marginalized. These is truth. 9 out of 10 people who say race don't matter are the ones to whom it matters most. It's the same as if two men walk into a room and find it full of stacks of cash and coins. And one man hits the other over the head, knocks him out, and moves all the coins and cash over to his side of the room. But when the second man comes to, he says, hey, let's divide the money up fairly. But the first man refuses. Then after several requests, the first man replies, it's always money with you. Money doesn't matter. That's all you ever talk about. It doesn't matter? Come on, let's go watch this. Let's go watch basketball per se. Everything matters. Time is precious. So then let's go into it. Plain and simple. The vague perception we have of, let's talk about it, no disrespect. Muhammad is that he was an Albion, a European, or Trailer whatever I want to call it, or a misnomer white Arab, similar to the Saudi we currently see today. Not the ancient but modern. And below is what's rarely mentioned. I'm going to show you pictures. And if you choose to casually mention Muhammad was black, you can always refer to this article that I'm going to give you. The original Arabs are the same as Africans. The Prophet Muhammad was a black man from the Quraysh tribe. And they be knowing it. They be having pictures, but they won't show you. This not no pale Arab. No disrespect to no one. It ain't no disrespect to no one. No disrespect to no one. But we can talk about it. Why? Because I talked about it in academia. I talked about it in college. What we talk about? It's nothing new under the sun. I didn't come up with none of this stuff. The key keeper of the Kaaba from the Banu Shiba tribe family. Photo was taken in 1880. A subset of the Quraysh and the Shiba had been guardians of the Kaaba since before Muhammad's time. No more scholarship I can give you. Robert F. Spencer remarked, and I quote, "It is said that the Quraysh explained their short stature and dark skin by the fact that they always carefully adhere to endogamy. Endogamy is the practice of marrying within a specific ethnic group, class, or social group." Robert F. Spencer, in the book called The Arabian Matriarch, an Old Controversy, Southwestern Journal of Anthropology, in the winter of 1952, on page 488. Remember, I always talk about Bertram Thomas? Y'all always hear me talk about Bertram Thomas. I have all Bertram Thomas books in my library. So no one can get up here and get upset what we're saying. You do the scholarship for yourself and see what I'm saying. Bertram Thomas, Cambridge educated historian. Remember Bertram Thomas wrote the book, The Arab, Arabia, all those books? But the historian and finance minister reported in his work, The Arabs, New York, Dow Day, 1937, and I quote eloquently with a silver tongue, "The original inhabitants of Arabia were not the familiar Arabs of our time, but a very much darker people." And you can get Vladimir Dale's dictionary in the 1800s when he tells you what the ancient Arab is. ARAP, not ARAB. These European scholars. See, we don't have to sit up here and argue. It's just the facts. The facts may be stubborn to some individuals. That's not truth seekers and tellers, but it's just the facts. That's all. A proto-Negroid built of mankind stretched across the ancient world from Africa to Malaya. This belt gave rise to the Hamitic people of Africa, to the Dravidian people of India, and to an intermediate dark people inhabiting the Arabian Peninsula. In the course of time, two big migrations of fair-skinned people came from the north. Also were the grammar of the Arabic, now spoken by the pure Arabs, different from that of the north. It approaches to or concede with Ethiopians, just like when you hear certain, no disrespect, European Albion Trelogite Jews, no disrespect, speak Yiddish. From that of the north, it approaches to or coincides with the Ethiopians. The general habits of the people given to sedentary rather than nomad occupations, fond of village, a life, of society, of dance and music, good cultivators of soil, tolerable traders, moderate artisans, have much more in common with those of the inhabitants of the African than with those of the Western Asiatic continent. There's no disrespect. Research this stuff. Ibn Mandor, IBN, MANDHOR, 1232, 1311 AD, says in this book, and I quote, Lisan el-Idrab, non-kinky hair is the kind of hair that most non-Arabs, like the Romans and Persians, have, while kinky hair is the kind of hair that most Arabs have. See, you can't go against what the scholars said. You see? See, it's no argument. And to the Kushite race belongs the oldest and purest Arabian blood, and also the great and very ancient civilization whose ruins abound is almost every district of the country. The South Arabs represent a residue of Hamitic populations, which at one time occupied the whole of Arabia. John Walden, from Prehistoric Nations of Inquiries Concerning Some of the Great Peoples and Civilizations of Antiquity, Harper's, 1869, and I quote, It should be understood that many of the names of the Kushite-speaking tribes today in the Horn of Africa, Somalia, Djibouti, and Ethiopia, Eritrea, were also known in early Arabia. In Somalia, such clans as the Yahar, the Yahar, the Darood, Darood, the Mahra, Mahra, and Somalia, and the Yemen, Mekhar, Makhar, bin Sa'al, or Somali, or Samal el Sama of Yemen, Ra'in, ancient Ra'in, or Ra'an, or Ra'iyah of Yemen, and Smith clans such the Hubir, aka Heber. Heber, in the 1828 Webster Dictionary, the Heber. Get your 1828 Webster Dictionary and see what I'm telling you. Uber, Y-U-B-I-R, Saba, Tumal, and Wubar, or Webar, are mentioned in ancient times and through the early Islamic period as Hamorite and Sabian tribes in South Arabia inscriptions. All the European Masons know this. They try to act like this high science. In their book, Atlantis of the Latter Days, the European call itself El Elos. And all this talk about is the Osiris mysteries. I'm telling you, facts. And when Arabia was eastern Ethiopia, Abdul al-Matalib fathered 10 lords, black as the night and magnificent. And one of these men was Abdullah, the father of Muhammad, al-Jaiz, 776 AD. The prophet's great-great-grandmother was from the jet black Banu Salam. Hassim, the great-grandfather, bore with Salma bint Amru al-Kararishi, the prophet's grandfather, Abd al-Matalib. This means that his paternal great-grandmother was from the black Mariz tribe, the Banu Khazars, or Khazara, or the Khazraj. Daniel Martin Verisco, Metaphors and Sacred History, the genealogy of Muhammad and the Arab tribe. Anthropological Quarterly, 68, 1995, page 139, 156, especially 148 and 150. Here go all the facts, here go all the truth. I got all the pictures, the maps is right in your face. No one can deny what we saying. So we don't have to blame nobody else. We can go ask our so-called teachers that teaching you so-called black history. That's gonna teach you about some slave history and your kids. Gonna teach you about some fake Willie Lynch. Gonna teach you about some fake roots. That's what your kids gonna learn. Kingdom of Himar. Look, you can look at this stuff on the map, y'all, for yourself. Stevie Wonder blind and he got eyes to see this. 1 second, y'all. I got you. What's up, mama? Hot ain't it? Yeah. But the black Arabs kept close to their African Ethiopian roots. Trade and culture exchange were routine, and marriage was contracted and conducted with the easiest facility between Africans and Yemenis, since there was no caste feelings between them. Oji Ija, Ufu, Anu. I mean, I can go deeper and deeper with this. The messenger of Allah was of medium stature, neither tall nor short, with a beautiful dark brown complexion, body, Hassan al-Jamar, Asmar, al-Alun. His hair was neither curly nor completely straight, and when he walked, he leant forward. That's in their writings. According to Bukhari, the Surah Bukhari, Anas bin Malik reported that when a person inquired the companions about the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, they pointed toward him, saying, "This white man, Rajul al-Abiyad, reclining on his arm." Right? That's what they say. described the messenger of Allah, peace be among him, a man of white complexion with red tinge. That's what they say. But we know what Yemenis children look like. There's no disrespect. In the context of human complexions, the term abyad or abyad, A-B-Y-A-D, means black. In classical Arabic, there are several distinct shades of blackness. And it's, you can research this. It's noted by Al-Talib in his writings, the Al-Luja. Abyad or Biyad is a particular shade or type of blackness, according to the important Syrian hadith scholar and historian of Islam, Shams al-Din al-Daibi. They know it. When Arabs say so and so is white, abyad or abyad, they mean a golden brown complexion with a black appearance. Ain't no disrespect. When Arabs say so and so is abyad, they mean a wheatish complexion with slight darkness. They know it. Action is said in Arabic. And if the complexion, the people of India, they say asmar or an adam. And if it is too clear, Negroes or too clear Negroes, they say aswad. And likewise, everyone whose complexion is overwhelmingly black, they call aswad or shadid ul ulma. You know it. I mean, I can show people pictures. Ibn Mar, author of the most authoritative classical Arabic lexicon, the Lisan al-Arab, notes the opinion that the phrase aswad al-juda, black skin, automatically meant Khalil el-Arab, the pure Arabs, because the color of most of the Arabs is dark, al-uduma. In other words, darkness of skin among the Arabs, suggesting purity. And that's what Bertram Thomas was telling y'all in his book, The Arab, the Syrian scholar and historian. Al-Da'abi, 1348. He too reported that Allah ibn Abbas, Prophet Muhammad's first cousin, and his son, Ali Ab Allah, were very dark-skinned. Al-Da'abi, Syria. Come on, man. Ali ibn Ab Talib, first cousin of the Prophet, future fourth caliph, is described by Al-Suyuti and others as husky, bald, pot-belly, large beard, and jet black. That's what they say. We can go on and on with it. And the Arabs used to take pride in their brown and black complexion. The al-Shurma wa al-Sawad. And they had a distaste for no disrespect, a white and fair complexion, al-Hurma wa al-Sharat. And they used to say that such was the complexion of the non-Arabs. You can research this stuff. Ali's son, Abu Ja'far, according to Ben Sa'd, described Ali thusly, and I quote, eloquently with a silver tongue. He was a black-skinned man with big, heavy eyes, pot-bellied, bald, and kind of short. Allah ibn Abbas was very black and tall. Those of Abu Talib's family, who are the most noble of men, are dark-skinned, black and tall. Sud. In discussing the appearance of Sharifs, I believe that it's appropriate for me to begin with the father of Sharifs, Al-Ibn al-Talib. In his book, Tariq al-Khalaf, The History of the Caliphs, Imam al-Sudi describes Ali ibn Ab Talib as follows, and I quote, babe, with a silver tongue. Ali was a heavy-set, bald, hairy man of average height with lean towards shortness. He had a large stomach and a large beard which filled all that was between his shoulders. The beard was white as if it was cotton, and he was a black-skinned man. So They be having stuff in their libraries that they'll keep away from certain people. They have things in their libraries. Everything is recorded. When I say everything, everything. It's certain names that were used. Watch this. It's certain names that we usually hear when the Sharifs or the Saids, the family of the Prophet Muhammad, SAWS, the capital SAWS, the acronym, are mentioned. We have all probably heard of Ali Zain al-Abidin, the son of al-Husayn, the son of Ali, the son of Abu Talib, though his mother was Persian. He is described as what? Dark skin. Where did he get his dark complexion from? From his father's side of the family, of course. This Ali, Zain al-Abidin, the son of al-Husayn, the son of Ali, the son of Abu Talib, married Fatima, right? Come on, my brothers and sisters. The daughter of who? Al-Sa'an, the son of Ali, the son of Abi Talib. We're going to keep sticking a fork in it. Muhammad al-Bayar, another name we hear when there is mention of the Sharifs, the family of Prophet Muhammad, was the eldest son of Ali Zain al-Abidin and Fatima, the daughter of al-Hassan. He was nicknamed He Who Resembles because he looked so much like the Prophet Muhammad. I hope we know this. You see how people put a wool over our eyes because they bring a different type of science to us, and then us as a people, we look at it crazy because the ones tell us the way we've been taught. The way we've been taught. We've been taught wrong. And then a lot of people won't even admit it. They're just, it's almost like you a lie and get caught in your lie, you still gonna roll with the lie. Man, we should bust you in the head. You just gonna keep rolling with the lie. And I'm looking at you like, man, you know you lying. You not gonna quit? He was described as kinky hair, right? So we can stop the cap. We can stop acting like it's two stories. I hope we understand this. Now watch this. As we get, cause we still got a little time, I'm gonna show y'all a pictorial. Y'all can't get mad. Y'all can't get mad. Now watch this. I'm gonna show y'all something and show you how our babies get caught up with whitewashed. Just like James Baldwin. Remember James Baldwin? I love James Baldwin. James Baldwin, I'm gonna give you a pictorial. How a lot of older people love those Western movies. But see, the science of those Western movies is those, no disrespect, those Europeans, those Albions, those troglodytes going to a certain area and what? Killing the indigenous people. What them Indians do to these people? Wait. Nothing. Nobody never thought about what the hell John Wayne knew what they were doing fighting the Indians for? What the hell they over there fighting the Indians for? Pow, pow, pow. You ain't never thought about that, have you? You see? You ain't never thought about that. Now watch this, the whitewashing of history. Watch this, with all due respect. He was described as a dark-skinned, kinky-haired of average height, all right? He was described as black-skinned, kinky-haired at average height. Among the Prophet Muhammad's direct descendants was Muhammad Ahmed al-Mahdi. He is considered the father of modern Sudan, having established an independent state. Watch this. Watch this. Throwing off British rule in 1885. Now remember this movie. I bet you a lot of ask your mothers, ask your parents, do they remember this movie? It's a movie was made of him. Khartoum, Khartoum, in 1966, starring Charlton Heston as his British rival. Charles Gordon, the Hollywood version of Muhammad Ahmad. Look, this Hollywood version of the brother. So nobody can get mad at me. I told y'all this is what happens because we don't know our history. But a scholar like myself can show our kids. And please don't talk about if my other brothers try to talk about, oh, well, the Bible is some white man book. Then we're going to have to make you sit on your hands again. I'm telling you, like, my people that are lost due to a lack of knowledge because what? We refuse to learn. We instead of argue with each other and sit down and don't know it's all ours. The Bible and the Quran speaks of the same forefathers. If you don't understand that, something is riggedy wrong with you. Don't sit up here and say Jesus prayed like no Muslim. Don't say that neither. because I deal with the alpha a lot. In the Bible, it's a plethora of ways. You want to stand up, sit down, Indian style, on your knees. You want to prostrate, however you want to. I mean, what we talking about? But we talking about historical figures. We have to talk about us. So I wanted to say that to young brothers and sisters. When people try to use religion to say this one is better than that one. We're not going to do that. Because then we belittling what? The mind. We belittling what? Who we are across the board. So I got a couple more minutes. I'm going to give this and I'm out of here. What did I give y'all this yesterday? Oh my God. Yeah. What you laughing at, Empress?
See, you got my sister up in there.
And where? You crazy. Hold on, y'all. But I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. Most of my people, my brothers and sisters, with all love and respect. And it's no disrespect. Okay. I just had to read something real fast. Okay, let me get back to the subject at hand. Because I said I was going to continue with this. All right. So, as we proceed to finish the thought process, as I can walk you across the biblical aspect when people say color don't matter, and we can show that in a biblical context as well. But I wanted to get to a principle where I cut off yesterday when I was talking about the 7 Kemetic principles. And these keys can be taught to children. You should want your children to know this as early as the 4th grade. You should want to know auto-suggestion. These are the keys that's going to help young people make decisions. That's going to make them be wise when they know who they are, when they know how to use their brain. I'm telling you what I know. Everything else is irrelevant. That's why children don't want to go to church, because it's they think, when it's no good for them. Nothing about them is good. And I'm telling them everything about them is good. Everything about them is good. It's just the mind need to be developed, just like everything else. Understand what we're saying about the 7 Kemetic principles. When I deal with different nationalities and they have for me, I grew up in Boy Scouts and Junior Scouts and Cub Scouts and Tiger Cubs. A lot of people may that's stupid, but that's a style of discipline. I know if I get lost in the jungle, I know what fire, know what wood I can burn. I know what I can eat, ingest. I know what's poison ivy. A lot of people can't even recognize poison ivy. A lot of people can't even recognize poison ivy off the dribble. I bet you. A lot of people don't know how to cut a cactus and drink from a cactus. So it's so many things, that life skills that we're not giving our kids because we think masonry is something wrong. But masonry, the aspect of masonry I teach is the mental aspect, is the theosophy aspect, is the God-man aspect. All these tools that our babies need at a young age. We need this because nobody else is going to teach us this, brothers and sisters. What? How to think. Nobody's going to teach us how to think. They can program us. That's why everything is a program. Why? Everything is a program. Everything is a repeated. Everything is over and over and over in rhythm. Why? Because that's how things is jammed down your throat. Understand what we're talking about. The Kemetic principles. If this is taught to our babies, if we understand, if we come together, we can be in a better place. Because this needs to be taught from the pulpit. This would need to be taught. when we're talking about establishing the mind, we talked about the mind's generic character yesterday, and we got to, and I want to get to the part of God being in the Judeo-Christian tradition. You know, for in him we live and move and have our beings. That's Acts chapter 17 and 28. Please stay in context. In the book of Exodus, God commands Moses to tell the people that the one who is has sent him. The original 4 letters express the name of the Creator. We know that. That's what they say. Translated as the Latin letters, or what they say, YHWH, or whatever you want to say. You know, we can say Yahweh, and we can agree to disagree. But let's just agree for a minute. And I derive from a verb that means to be. When they say, I will be what I will be, you know, to be. So the most likely translation would be the one who is, per se. And grammar tells us that the verb to be is a substantive verb, that is, belonging to the real or essential nature of a thing. Therefore, it does not indicate any action passing from the subject to an object. I hope my brothers and sisters understand what your brother just said to you. This is being so. When we come to examine the nature, the attributes, and the qualities of pure being, my brothers and my sisters, we are forced to use the term, what? Potentiality, instead of what? Actuality. Potentiality, instead of actuality. I hope you understand what your brother is demonstrating to you at this moment in time. Although the most accurate translation of the name of God would simply be, we can say being or essence per se, or the one who is, since this principle is always individualized, in the sense that we need someone to express it. Many spiritual teachers use the term I am. I because it is individualized, but at the same time, selfless, without identity, not a separate being out there per se. The am, because it is always in a state of being beyond all dualities of birth and death. You see? This should also not cause the confusion of identifying the name of God with some self-entity external to the plane of reality. But on the contrary, we should understand God per se as the fundamental expanse of pure being or pure beingness, a mirror-like, all-pervading awareness beyond the limitations of external or internal, one or many, time and space residing at the heart of each sentient being. Brothers and sisters, from this substantive pure potentiality, there flows out an active verb which reproduces in action what the I am is in essence. Creation is in essence the same as what he started the creation. See, we're talking about something that's manifest. And if God per se is pure being, what is the devil spoken of in the Bible? I mean, you tell me. Because we say, this real, they're not real. I'm not here to argue with you. But now, I hope you use your hippocampus. The devil, in its general aspect, is the possibility of not recognizing one's identity with the one who is God, which God and man is one, nothing outside of yourself. Straying into dualism and the grasping at duality of subject and object. In its individual aspect, the devil is the personification and symbol of sentient beings, dualistic limitations due to not knowing their identity with God. and all the negative intentions and actions that sprout because of that limitation. What I'm saying, my brothers and sisters, in a nutshell, the devil is conceptual limitations. It's number, the 666 spoken. Stay in context, because we could say 6 protons, 6 neutrons. We get all that, but stay in context. The 666 spoken of the Bible is the repetition, is the dualism of the 3 indivisible aspects of pure being and reality. The Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son per se are what? The potential, the ideal, and the concrete, or the essence, the nature, and the responsiveness, etc., and so on, if you stay in context. So what I'm saying, brothers, to kind of put it all together, God is the selfless and timeless presence of the one who is an individualized essence of mirror-like awareness of pure being, beyond subject and object or gender, residing at the heart of each manifest sentient being, whether it be a God, a human, an animal, spirit, angel, demon, whatever you want to call it. This mirror-like, all-pervading awareness of pure being is capable of what? Reflecting itself into infinite forms. Not like inert phantoms, but forms of sentient beings, which have the freedom of own self-awareness, and also the capabilities of recognizing their own source as pure being. You see? That's why I tell my brothers and sisters to look inside of yourself. Listen to your internal voice, and remember that the true teacher is pure being, which whispers inside of yourself. Listen to it. That's your discernment. That's that God essence. It is the truth, which is in you and I. You are divine. Didn't the scripture say you are God's? If the scriptures didn't say that, I wouldn't tell you that. Never forget this, my brothers and sisters. We are not separating. Separation does not exist. We are all one in eternal contact with the unique soul. See, Grinaldo Bruno, this was one of his last testaments before being burnt alive by the Inquisition, February 1600. Research what your brother is telling you. I'll give you a little bit more because I said I wasn't going to be too long. But God, pure consciousness, and self in the Hindu tradition. Watch this. I can paint the picture all across the spectrum. There are many interpretations and philosophical views in the Hindu tradition. The word of Sri Rana Maharishi, an Indian teacher or Swami who lived and taught in South India in the early part of the 20th century, one of the most essential and profound in describing reality, or God per se, and wisdom. According to the Advaita Vedanta, the non-dualist, the Hindu tradition, just like in your Quran, it talks about the Vistas and the Brahmin text, the Avistas. I hope we understand what I'm saying. According to Sir Rami Maharishi, the term God or self or Brahman used in the Hindu tradition are synonyms for reality, which is discovered by what? Self-realization. Therefore, realization of the self is realization of God. But it's not an experience of God. Rather, it is an understanding that oneness is indivisible from God. Speaking from the ultimate level, statements on God can be summarized in 3 main points, my brothers and sisters. God is immanent and formless, pure or essential being, and pure consciousness. Manifestations appear in God and through God's power, but God is not its creator. God never acts intentionally as God, has neither an ego, a will, nor a desire to act. God just is, as it is. Stay with me. God's individuality is the illusion that we are not identical with God. And when the illusion is dispelled, what remains is God. When I talk about words like as Iswara or Iswara, Hindu name for the supreme personified God or worship, Iswara exists as reality. It exists as a real entity only as long as one imagines that one is an individually separate, identified being. And when identity persists, there is a God who survives the activities of the universe. In the absence of identity, the concept of Iswara is non-existent. Also, besides Iswara, when we talk about the Hinduism, has many deities, which resembles the gods and demons of the Greek mythology. I can go all across the board with the Grimmer and with all the so-called stuff people want black magic. But such deities are a central figure of popular Hinduism, and their reality is still widely accepted. But the Vedanta, the Vedanta tradition, the Brahman, the reality, not to be confused with the deity Brahma, Brahma, cannot be known as an object of mind because Brahman is one's very mind. I hope you caught this, the Brahman, not the Bhrama, but the Brahman. I'm making emphasis on some of my brothers and sisters, is one's very mind. The Brahman is your mind. You see how powerful, how beautiful that these holy texts talk about your mind? It calls your mind the Brahman. Moreover, the goal of Vedanta is to realize that oneself, the Atman, is a product of ego, false identification, when in reality, Brahman is all that exists, which leads to the conclusion that we are all ultimately Brahman. Or it may be said that liberation or enlightenment do not merely mean to know Brahman, but rather to realize one's Brahmanhood, to actually realize that one is and always was Brahman. Man, come on, my brothers and sisters. That's powerful science. See, that's the Holy Spirit. What? When wisdom comes down, that's the Holy Spirit. That's when you speak in tongue. What? When you start to prophesy in your native tongue. Not no jibber jabber. See, we don't have to play games. See, some of our parents didn't know how to read. That's okay, but we know how to read today. We don't have to play games. We know how to read. Yes, we do. Watch this. I'll give you a little bit more because my emperor's still preparing supper. See, hey, believe she's preparing supper. Let me get some libations. That's right, Noble. That's right, Noble, Malik. Watch this. Now watch me do it, the principle of the mind only in the Buddhist tradition. I'm going to walk you right through it. It's not hard. That's why I said, I love all my elders. Bobby Hemming, I love all of them. But if they was in the flesh, I say, okay, what are you talking about, Tantra or yoga? They'll be like, well, what you talking about, She? Can I talk to you on the side? No. I mean, it's what it is. A map is going to map. What a map do? Lead the way. But you must know how to get there. The map don't get you there. I know people have maps, still don't know how to damn read it. They happy goddamn GPS came out on phone. Because if these Negroes had maps, boy, you would be lost in the desert somewhere. Hey, that's a fact. Hey, that's a fact. But in a mirror surface of the surface of a vessel, a woman, as she adorns herself, watch this, as she adores herself, yeah, it's to grow. As she adorns herself, sees her face, though her entire face seems to appear in these. It is neither existent nor non-existent there. All phenomena should be known to be like that. Watch this. Watch this. In the Mayan Buddhist tradition, we find a particular school of thought called the mind only, the Chitta Martra. Woo! Don't hurt yourself over there. The Chitta Matra, or the doctrine of consciousness, the Vijnanavada, the mind-only tenet system asserts that there are no such things as eternal phenomena. Mind as a non-dual self-aware consciousness is an absolute reality, my brothers and sisters. It is found upon Buddha's statement that all three worlds are mind only, and it is expressed mainly in Buddhist scripture, like the Lankavatara and the Daspalunka, the Sutra, according to the mind only philosophical school of thought. When we see a table, the visual form of the table that we see does not exist separately from the visual consciousness to which it appears, my brothers and sisters. When several people see a table at the same time, each person is expressing the ripening of the tendencies or the karmic seeds of collective karma on his or her own mental continuum. You see? You see? It is not that each person is seeing a common table nevertheless. But what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, the table is findable, and everyone can point to the same table in terms of what each person is expressing. Please stay in context. I'm painting a picture for my brothers and sisters that a child can understand this. Or I can get into the analogy where I take my teeth out per se. Or I can say, I can treat you like a mother and you can get on the breast. How about that? Let's proceed. In the visual cognition of the visual form of a table, the visual form and the visual consciousness, seeing it come from or share the same source, which is a karmic ground. That's a karmic ground, brothers and sisters. They arise simultaneously from it as parts of a single cognition, without coming from different sources. The great Buddhist, the mind-only teacher, Asanga, is one of his works says that it is awareness. Awareness is your mind, which arises in the appearance of the external objects, living beings, cells, and the sense data per se. Thus, it is nothing but awareness itself that appears external to be things and persons, and internally to be a self-perceiving sense data. And since objects which appear to be out of there are nothing but awareness itself, what we regard as reality is an illusionary manifestation of your mind itself. Brothers and sisters, another important feature of this system is the concept of the 8 types or aspects of consciousness. You should know this to be true if you are an adept thinker. These 8 types of consciousness should be understood as different aspects of the mind or consciousness of an unenlightened individual, sentient being, and not as separate, unconnected entities. Although their function is shaping our external and internal reality is different. You see, brothers and sisters? Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. In general, my brothers and sisters, the Buddhist scriptures talk of 5 aspects of consciousness, 5 sensories, 5 consciousness, plus a mental consciousness. But the mind only school, the two more types of consciousness are added to the five. The afflicted mind consciousness and the storehouse or ground consciousness. Stay with your brother. The five sense consciousness arise in conjunction with the five physical sense faculties, and the six consciousness arise in conjunction with the faculty of the conscious mind. Therefore, my brothers and sisters, the sixth consciousness is also called the intermediate consciousness, or the consciousness following immediately upon the rising of sense perception. As soon as a sensory perception, such as form, occurs, that's when the mental concept of that form immediately arises. Then the sixth mental consciousness, like the sensory consciousness, my brothers and sisters, exists one instant and ceases in the next moment. So then we have the seventh consciousness, the afflicted mind consciousness, or which we call the ego consciousness, is the ego principle. We can say the lower self in more science, the principle of self-individuality, individuation. It's called the afflicted mind consciousness because it believes and grasps at one's own personality as an illusion self, thinking there is a separate me or an I per se, my brothers and sisters. It possesses puffed up pride and ego, which believes that I is superior to others. It has attachments to the I, believing oneself as more deserving than others, and gives rise to all the deluded and destructive views about reality. The eighth consciousness, my brothers and sisters, which we like to call the storehouse or the ground consciousness, is the source of all other kinds of consciousness. It is beyond a subject or object duality per se. It is momentarily and non-substantial, but it's not a passively receiving dustbin of the mind. But on the contrary, my brothers and sisters, it is dynamic in organizing, integrating new tendencies, and structuring the individual experience of reality. Watch this. In fact, it is the source of all impure and unenlightenment appearances. Every sentient being with its seemingly subjective and objective world can be reduced to its own ground consciousness. And this ground consciousness is basically the sum of all motivated actions and intentions from beginning less time. I hope you're staying with me. We almost done. The eighth consciousness is also called the storehouse consciousness because it functions as a receptacle and a container of the so-called seeds or the karmic cause of the past experience. These seeds project themselves as an illusionary world of empirical subjects. Woo! And corresponding objects. You all right in there? The ground consciousness is the foundation and source of the mind because all karmic latencies are stored in those. When I talk about the latent karmic imprints settle in the ground consciousness to express themselves at a later time. Hippocampus, a karmic latency, will awaken as an experience of suffering or happiness when the right circumstance presents itself, my brothers and sisters. So when we talk about this positive karma, doesn't immediately express itself as happiness. Rather, the karmic latencies rest within the ground consciousness and arise later as a result when the secondary circumstance allows it. I hope y'all following with me. I can go on and on that. There is nothing to clear away and nothing to be established. Reality views reality. To see that is liberation. You know? You got to understand this. The final aim of the follower of the Buddhist mind-only school is to put an end to the tendency of external projection of the ground consciousness, transforming it into the non-dual wisdom of enlightened mind. Reality itself beyond the duality of subject and object. In the Buddhist Sutra, the ornament of clear realization, we find the following statements pointing to the realization of the mind and reality. Remember what I just said. There is nothing to clear away and nothing to be established. Reality views reality, and to see that is liberation. Mind has no shape. It has no color. It has no existence. It is like space. And though reflections may appear within a mirror, they do not exist. And if we do not know appearances of mind as mere appearances, the duality of conceptual thinking will arise from distinguishing phenomena and pure being by the future. And since experience of every phenomena is equivalent to the center of open space, aka manifesting, formations are all appearances, like illusions. Even when we talk about the Tibetan teachers, Milpham Rinpoche, we can find these statements. What are being called outer objects observed in common are not reference, existing as something, extrinsic to or other than consciousness, precisely because they are appearances, compromising common experiences shared by a variety of beings whose mind streams are not the same. But this is what proves that they are nothing other than differing perceptions of differing mind streams. You see, the mind principle in the Tibetan Buddhist teachings of the Dzogchen, the mind is the universal seed. Both samsara and nirvana spring forth from it. All across all different pieces of wisdom, I can give it to you. But I'm getting hungry. My Empress. Hey, Empress, I think you need to check this. I'll give you a little bit more. In the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, in the cycle of teachings called the Dzogchen, or the Dzogchen, the Dzogchen, we find the most accurate and profound explanation and description of the principle of the mind and reality. The term Dzogchen, Dzogchen, means total perfection or total completeness, and it refers to the true nature of reality, phenomena, and of each individual sentient being as totally perfect and complete as it is. In the cycle of Dzogchen teachings called the category of the mind, or the Simdi, a refutation is made that the 8 aspects of consciousness and the whole universe, or appearances of the mind, our mind, but our more precise assertion is made that appearances and phenomena are the projections or self-manifest reflections of nature, of mind, or mind principle, similar to various reflections appear on a wall polished and lucid mirror, where the mirror symbolizes the nature of mind's infinite potentiality to manifest an array of forms and events, and where the reflection cannot be said to be the mirror itself, but neither separate from the mirror in which they appear. Brothers and sisters, do we see this? In this tradition, mind is called nature of mind, or the primordial state, or the vast expanse of unconditioned primordial space and awareness, similar to potentiality of the lucid surface of a mirror. And mind's manifestation, comprising all the 8 aspects of consciousness, are simply called mind, dualistic mind consciousness, or dimmed awareness, similar to the reflections manifesting on a mirror surface, brothers and sisters. The primordial state, the vast expanse of the unconditional primordial space and awareness, is the root and real nature of the phenomenal universe. and of each individual sentient being, and not abstract concept. Within and by the primordial ground of pure being, the nature of mind, an array of illusionary and illusory. This type of illusion it forms are self-manifested as a spontaneous play. It's like an effulgence, at which points two possibilities open up. Either self-recognition as self-manifestation beyond all opposites, and therefore the possibility to freely partake of this infinite play of creation, non-dualistically, without the illusory division of subject and object, time and space, or otherwise non-recognition and subsequent forming of tightly graphed dualistic concepts of opposite values. You see? So the first case, one self-awakened into the totality of the primordial pure ground of pure being, but at the same time, master of time and space. In the second case, one is trapped into the illusory nature of dualistic values of one's now deemed dualistic awareness, including time and space, until one reawakens through a spiritual path into the self-recognition of oneself as the primordially pure ground of being, which now is called the fruit of self-awakening, my brothers and sisters. In the doctrine, the mirror symbolizes the potentiality of the nature of mind to manifest, and the images and forms reflected symbolize the various manifestations or appearances of the five senses, my brothers and sisters, plus thoughts and emotions, which can be said to be objects of consciousness. Moreover, in the delusion, a clear distinction is made between the non-dual and all-pervading awareness of enlightenment experience, which is pure, timeless, unborn potentiality of total knowing, which we call awareness, and identified, limited, dualistic consciousness, characteristic of a sentient being, brothers and sisters. We almost done. In the doctrine teachings, the mind and the 8 aspects of consciousness are not the same thing, but also not separate entities neither. In fact, the 8 aspects of consciousness are reflections of manifestations of the radiant effulgence of the intrinsic nature of your mind. Just like the rays of the sun are not the sun itself, but also cannot be separate from the sun. One could say that consciousness has its root in the mind, or that the mind has its root in nature of mind. And the intended meaning would be the same. Realization of nature of mind, or mind and dualistic consciousness, ego grasped, that ego grasps mind per se, are not mutually exclusive either, since consciousness has its root and is embraced or contained by the nature of mind as its spontaneous play, just like the reflections in the mirror are embraced and are not separate from the mirror itself, right? Just like one needs reflection to discover the potentiality, the nature, the quality, the attributes of a mirror. When one is the Dzogchen path to self-realization, one can use any of the mind's spontaneous, effulgent reflections to discover the potentiality and nature of the source of pure being, which is manifesting and reflecting. Therefore, one can use the mind or your consciousness, your emotions, your passions, or any type of experienced phenomena to discover one's nature of mind, of pure being. Yes, you have this ability. While in the Dzogchen path, one jumps directly into one's nature of pure being and integrates all dualistic experience in that state. In the Buddhist, the highest path of the tantric transformation, one uses precise symbols in the form of deities, equivalent to the mirror's reflection, to discover and abide in the nature of the potentiality of pure being, which is reflecting, equivalent to the mirror's lucid surface potentiality. Brothers and sisters, the nature of the mind is described as primordially pure, all pervasive, uncompound, and without characteristics, but at the same time possessing an infinite potentiality to manifest as pure or impure phenomena, Buddhist or sentient beings, simply depending on whether it recognizes itself or not as the source of its effulgent manifestations. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying? I reached my limit. I want to stop right there. But you got to understand that a mirror doesn't have any plans or intentions to reflect, but it's just part of the potentiality to reflect when object and circumstances present themselves. The all-pervasive mind, the mirror-like awareness in its essence, nature, responsive, manifest forms and appearances only when and if secondary causes and circumstances present themselves. I'll stop right there. I hope we know this. That's the science that we need to be teaching my brothers and sisters. I don't want to stay too long. I'll reach my hour limit. But I want us to see this in all walks of life, to know who you are. And if color didn't matter, then brothers and sisters would have just told the truth from the beginning. All color matter. You matter. That's blasphemy to say color don't matter. And we made in the image. And we have a right. If we have a right of a nationality, then we can prove that what's been promulgated is not valid to our brothers and sisters. Blacks never had no standing in law. Never. The Dred Scott law was never abolished. If anybody promulgating this black stuff today, something is wrong. Black have no rights. Never. It was civil mortis. Always. Always. Black had no standing in law. Never in history. No one can get on here in their right mind. No historian, no lawyer, nobody can say black has standing in law, because black was never used in first century to describe ethnicity. These is facts. So if anybody get on here with a misconstrued understanding, it's something wrong with us. And we'll continue to lie to our babies. And that's why they don't want to come to nobody churches. The history is off, the science is off, and I'm your brother. And I believe we should continue to spread this message, because nobody else is going to teach it for us. Nobody's going to build our temples and schools. We are legit on paper. All we need is the people help. I've been saying this forever. It fall on deaf ears. What else we going to do with our time and a little bit of our money consistently? What else we going to do? The other man is doing it. As I show y'all, man, I didn't show y'all that Al-Islam Muslims built their mosques. I think I showed y'all I walked past it. I'm going to walk past it tomorrow when I do my workout and show y'all. When I was talking to the imam, he was like, well, brother, we did the same thing that you talk about. They put their money together. They taxes in for the federal government. It took them 2 years to collect the money. Boom. And they raised it. Bam. They built their temple from the ground up. They built their mosque right around the corner from me. Real talk. I know them. They was like, brother, and so when I be saying the difference from misnomer, no disrespect, our color and different color people, that regardless of how nobody else feels, they do what they want to, and they teach their own, because that's what they do with their finances. They teachers are they teachers. They don't deal with characters. They imams or their teachers don't lead them and burn their houses. Their imams, they don't hear scam artists or telling you to do that and the other, or arguing with other people, or being disrespected. I know so many different nationality imams, and they used to come to all my lectures at GCU. All of them. Every last one of them. And if anybody on here went to academia, for a fact, they'll know it, because I give peer-reviewed scholarly research and I give references on everything I talk about. So it's no reason, it don't matter how no one feels. It's no biasness on nothing that I say, not one thing. But I can tell you that it's a blueprint. I'm watching it. I'm watching it with my European Jews. I'm watching it with the European Catholic I see. I'm watching it with the European Masons. All they do is put their money together and they get a tax as receipt. They don't be caring about no grants, but they get them. But they put their money together, and they taxes them for the federal government. This stuff be falling on deaf ears to our people, and we continue to give our money to Uncle Sam. And we don't understand that we a private banking system. That's how everybody else winning. That's how. because everybody that's working, they like, wait a minute, we're not finna give all our money to Uncle Sam and give it away. And we can donate a portion of our money that Uncle Sam, we're going to give anyway. And all our religious organization got to do is give us a tax-exempt receipt, and we can build infrastructure. Are we crazy and we don't do that? Yes. That's why I keep saying everybody be asking the powers to be for welfare and all that. I said we're supposed to pull each other up by our bootstraps. Why? Because everybody working. I'm talking about things that work. I'm talking about a blueprint. Nobody can get on here and tell me that what I'm saying don't work. Right? 300 people giving $100 a month is $360,000 a year. That's tax exempt from the federal government. Religious, charitable, scientific, education. I can give everybody a tax exempt receipt, and that ain't even a tittle of what you owe Uncle Sam. Because I deal with tax law. Most people don't have no tax deductions. Most people don't even know what I'm talking about. Most black people don't understand why the rich people always have nonprofits, and because they don't care about giving their money to Uncle Sam. They donate it to their religious and charitable contribution of their choice. That's why the Catholic churches is popping. That's why Tyler Perry, I said Tyler Perry, is that his name? Gave $1 million to TD Jakes. It ain't nothing but a write-off. That's why Oprah give away cars. That's why Drake don't give them money. They in a high tax bracket. I'm telling you, even though some of them it's a good charity, but we don't understand that on our level. We give our money away to Uncle Sam and say, yeah, I'm paying my taxes. And instead of resorting that to your religious organization, we hit. I tell people this all day. I said, we willingly giving our money away. Ask anybody. Ask any tax preparer. They say, well, you don't have no deductions. Okay, you make this amount of money. If you make $100,000, you have no deductions. You're going to write Uncle Sam a fat check at the end of the year, about 10 grand. But instead of you giving to your religious and charitable contribution of your choice and getting a tax-exempt receipt and understanding what you're giving to Uncle Sam, we give it all away. And then that mean what? No money. Yeah, we paying all these things, and then we be talking about stuff. Oh, we this, and our money, we need this. We got, if everybody work, which everybody do,